Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, everybody. This is Joanne Victoria with another amazing episode of the Sanity Project podcast. You are here to discover a life with clarity, confidence, sanity, and entrepreneurial success. Our guest today, Zehra Mahoon, is a gift. She is a gift to this audience. Zehra is a mastermind, mindset, and law of attraction coach and manifesting expert. If that's all I said about her, that would be enough. But Zehra is also the author of 12 books, including Unlimited, 40-Day Law of Attraction Workbook to Accelerate Manifestation, and it is available on Amazon. After committing to completely transforming her self-worth in 2006, Zehra decided to help individuals to identify blockages that keep them from achieving success. She helps them to change their self-talk and develop new thinking habits that open up a world of new possibilities. Welcome to the show, Zehra Mahoon.
So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I am grateful that you are here because the law of attraction to me is very important. But sometimes I ask for things and don't always get it. Don't always follow the steps, apparently. So how did you get to this place where you are helping people change their self-talk and develop new thinking habits?
It was never planned. That's the first thing I guess I want to say. I didn't plan it. I didn't think I was going to be doing this. It just has a life of its own. It calls me and I go. People call me by asking me questions and I bring the answers. And as I bring the answers, I feel so good. It feels like energy moving through my body, and it feels so good that I want to do more and more and more and more of it. And I guess that's how I got to where I am. But before I got here, I had to go through a journey. I had to make all the mistakes that other people make, and then they come and look for my guidance on what's going on in their lives. But the reason I'm able to guide them is because I've made all those mistakes myself. I've been there, done that. And now
Twice over, probably.
Yeah. In many cases, yes, absolutely. So I've just been asking a lot of questions about life. Why do things happen the way they do, and why do some people get one set of results and other people in kind of the same or similar situations get a different set of results? What is behind that? That's always been my question, because I need to know so that I can do it the right way.
I understand. Yes, we see this, and generally the people who get the results based on their intention are deemed lucky.
Yes.
And people who don't are very upset. When we look at the world, we tend to compare, if not on a large scale, at least a small scale. We go, well, I do that. Why don't I have these kinds of outcomes and results?
Exactly. And that was exactly me.
There we are.
Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing was hard work. My parents always taught me the value of hard work, and I worked very hard, but I could see that there were other people who were not working as hard, who were getting better success than I was. And so, that was one of my questions. How come? What's going on there?
Okay. What was the response?
Well, first of all, I asked that question for a very long time. But then in between, I was observing. It's that observation of what people are doing that helps us to collect the information of what's missing from our mix. And I remember having someone working in my office who was extremely successful. And I would look at this person and I wouldn't understand why they were so successful, because on the surface, I couldn't see any of the criteria that fit the bill. They didn't work hard. They weren't well spoken. They weren't well dressed. Like I was looking for all the outward criteria of success. They didn't have the skill set. Okay, so what's going on here? And what I eventually accepted was that this person must have something that I don't have. Mm-hmm. And so what I did was I went up to him and I said, I'd like to learn from you. Can I tag along? And he was very gracious. I now understand that graciousness actually was the missing ingredient. Wow. You see? Yes, that's because he opened the doors and he let me into his business, and he did not hold back in sharing everything with me. What I got out of looking back out of that experience was that he had an attitude of abundance. An attitude of abundance says, what is mine is going to come to me. I don't have to withhold information or things from you, because what is mine is going to come to me regardless of what I share with you.
So he was kind and generous.
Yes. And so that is an attitude of an abundant person. A person, on the other hand, that says, oh, I better not share this with you, because if you find out this little secret that I have, then I'm going to get left behind. You're going to supersede me. That's an attitude of lack. Mm. And so those people who have an attitude of lack, they cannot attract the success and prosperity of a person who has that attitude of being open and allowing and open to share and give. You can give in so many ways, you see. You don't have to. Giving is a state of mind. It is not what you take out of your pocket and donate to a charity.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's what you can give of yourself without a question. It was like, the other day, a small thing, somebody on Facebook just was sharing covers of his new book. And I congratulated him. I don't always respond to these things, but I knew the person and he's been very generous. And I said, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. I figured whatever, I could put it on my social media, etc. And then he asked me to write a back cover recommendation for the book. And it was like, okay. I mean, that's a big thing in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like those don't come along too often. And I thought, wow, that's nice. And I agreed, so over time we'll see what happens and so on and so forth. But all because I'm taking this at my word that this is what happened and how it happened and why it happened, all because I made an offer. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know.
Yes.
No specifics. He could have just ignored it. He could have done so many things.
That's right. That's right.
Yet he offered me the back cover. I'm probably not going to be the only one, but that doesn't even matter.
No.
So I think that's this generosity and kindness. It's difficult for people, especially now, well, for a long time, actually. It's just worse now. That they're not accountable, hardly generous, and hardly kind from a mass perspective. I'm not talking about everybody, but there are a lot of people who are just not conscious right now.
Well, I think it comes from this attitude that we've developed over a period of time, the attitude of what's in it for me.
Right.
And so if you only did things after you asked that question, what's in it for me? And you look for physical, worldly manifestations as the response to that, then you continue to be unfulfilled. Whereas if you don't ask that question and you just do whatever feels good, then you never have a void inside you because you're always full. Your cup is brimming over.
I totally understand, and I hope the listeners understand that giving without expectation is magnificent.
Yes, exactly.
It's just magnificent. And
yes.
It's not as if there's no story that, I'm going to give without any, expectations. It's just, it's a way of being. It's a way that you have to become.
Yes.
And you become that by just doing that every day.
Right.
Showing up. It's really important. Showing up and being who you truly are as opposed to being who you're supposed to be or who you think you're supposed to be or how others look at you.
So true. Yes, absolutely.
So I know that you said on your website that I'll just reframe it in saying that you're aligned with the words of Abraham. Yes?
Yes.
And how did you find Abraham?
I found Abraham through the Secret movie. And the first release of the movie had Abraham in it. And when I came upon that documentary, I actually picked up books and programs from each of the teachers in the documentary. And
right.
Abraham was actually the last one that I read. I read all the others before I went to Abraham. Mm-hmm. And I think that's neat because I went to Abraham in the end and then I just stayed with Abraham.
Oh, I concur. I dabble myself, but I think Abraham is better than most because it's mostly intuitive. It's my experience, and I align with that. So, were you aligned with Abraham in 2006 when you started transforming your self-worth?
I was in the early stages of beginning to piece the puzzle together, and Abraham became a part of my journey and a part of my success. So from 2006 to, I want to say, 2010 is the period that it took for me to really put things together and gain an overall understanding of how law of attraction works. And in that period, I have to tell you, Joanne, I made every mistake that one could possibly make in actually applying law of attraction to improving life.
Oh, what does a law of attraction mistake look like?
Oh, well, you can actually make things a lot worse than they are. You go about. You think you're going to fix them, but you end up making them way worse than they are because you just don't understand all the concepts. So I made my...
as I was telling you before, that my morning was just something to burn up and throw away, but it was very stressful and it was unattended details. And I was afraid of these details to a certain extent. Oh, God, I don't want to deal with that. And then, of course, the crap showed up. And so now I have to deal with it. And I'm forced to face it. Forced to come face to face with whatever I have to deal with in the audience going, what's going on, Joanne? I'm not going to tell you because it's not that it's embarrassing. It's just dumb, on my part. It's things that people do, every other day. And it was something that I didn't want to pay attention to for a long period of time. And then when I did, it blew up, and I'm sure it can be handled properly. I just need to know that if I rely on my intuition and the law of attraction, it will be cleared up quickly and easily and effortlessly.
Absolutely. And that's how law of attraction works. It seems very intellectually simple and easy to understand, but in reality, there's a lot of depth to law of attraction. So, if you listen to Abraham says that you create your own reality. Your thoughts create.
Correct.
And, we interpret that to mean, oh, I should be a positive thinker. But there's a lot more. There are so many layers to that one line because there are so many moving pieces to it. It's about understanding how beliefs work. It's about understanding the concept of desire and the concept of expectation and the concept of different emotions and how they impact what happens. So it can get extremely complex. But the starting point, I think, is understanding what really constitutes a positive thought. And I think that most of us think we have an understanding of what a positive thought is, but we don't really practice positive thinking, because if we did, we would be getting amazing results all the time. And we don't.
I guarantee you're talking to them. Most times it's fine, and sometimes it blows up. So what does constitute, from your perspective and your education and your sharing and helping clients, what constitutes a positive thought?
As Abraham puts it, talk about what you want. And talking about what you want can go wayward, because if I say to you, oh, I hope that doesn't go wrong, or I hope that gets fixed, or I hope that doesn't take too much time, it seems that I want a positive result. But those are not positive thoughts. Those are actually negative thoughts. And most of us speak that way. We speak about what we don't want rather than what we want.
So you're saying put out the want, whatever it might be.
Yes.
I want a new car, and this is what it looks like. And drop it.
Exactly.
Walk away. Don't focus on it at all.
Well, that is trust, basically, because if you trust, then you don't have to think about it again and again. You don't have to ask questions about how it will come together. You don't have to wonder when it will come together. You just put the desire out there and then move on with life.
So I think
don't get stuck.
If you get stuck and test it, if you go, well, what if a lot, that's your ego talking, yes?
No. You know what? Well, here's what I feel gets complicated is that we take all these so-called terms that are used in the psychological realm, the study of psychology, and we bring them into law of attraction. But law of attraction is a body of information on its own, and the concepts of psychology don't actually work the same way when you're talking about law of attraction. So as far as law of attraction is concerned, there is no ego. There's no such thing as an ego. Okay. That's a concept in psychology. It's not a law of attraction concept. In law of attraction, there is the soul and the mind and the body.
And
the mind is not divided into the id and the ego.
No, I got that. So if I'm looking at these three words, soul, mind, and body, do they need to all be aligned in order for your law of attraction to work effectively?
It depends. So here's where we get into the complexity of it, because on some subjects of your life, you can be completely aligned, and on other subjects, you may not be aligned. The best results that we can manifest come from alignment. And our body is a reflection of the alignment. And we can use our body in order to shift our emotional state, which helps to shift our mental state and helps us to align with the soul part of us, of our being.
Okay, how does shifting your body shift your mind?
Well, it's your physiology, right? You're in charge of your physiology. So try slumping and you won't feel as much energy passing through you because there won't be enough as much energy passing through you. Stand up and adopt the Superman pose with your hands on your hips and your feet apart and your shoulders pulled back, and you'll feel more powerful, more strong. That is physiology. That's your physiology. And your physiology then has an impact on the way you feel. And the way you feel has an impact on what you think. So all of it is connected.
I hope everybody who's listening will re-listen to this podcast, as I recommend just about every time I do an interview with a great, actually all my guests are great, and take notes. Get your yellow pad out and start taking notes, because you will see or hear when you re-listen to this podcast that you have missed things. And Zehra Mahoon is here so you don't miss anything.
I actually find it's funny that you say that, because I find that when I listen to things or I read things, the second time around, I pick up on more information, and then I read it or listen to it again, and I pick up even more information, because there's so much depth in things that we learn and communicate to each other that you can't really grasp all of it in just one reading of the book or one listening of the discussion. So,
sure. And then our mood is different from time to time too.
Absolutely. And what is your mood but a place on the emotional scale? Your mood is a word that you use to describe where you are on the emotional scale. And knowing where you are on the emotional scale is extremely important, because that is your GPS, which tells you whether your thoughts are pointed in the negative direction or the positive direction. So a simple question to yourself, how does this feel, gives you the information that you need. For example, if you say, I hope I'm not late for the appointment, feels very different in your body if you do a check. Feels very different from saying, I want to be on time for the appointment.
Yeah, I don't like the first part. I hope I'm not late for this appointment.
Exactly.
That sets myself, it's like, wait a minute, that sets me up for failure.
That's
right. Not late. That's just so lackadaisical. Oh, I hope I'm not late. You know how people can be. And,
a lot of people think that way.
Oh, don't do that anymore, listeners. Make a decision and stick to it. I mean, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same thing like living on the East Coast versus the West Coast. On the East Coast, my experience is when you give your word to somebody that you're going to do something or be someplace, that's a promise made and it will never be forgotten. And in my experience, but I find it more East Coasty than West Coasty. West Coasty is, again, like your first thing. Oh, I hope I'm not late for that appointment. Very lackadaisical. Yes, I'm making judgments, but I don't care. That's my experience, so I'm allowed to do that. And people don't take people seriously. Less seriously on the West Coast than they do on the East Coast. On the East Coast, if somebody says, I'm going to see you for dinner at, 8 o'clock at, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, time and date, that's a given. Never changes. But, on the West Coast, more than likely, they're going to change their minds. They're going to say, oh, I forgot. And that's been my experience. I don't know what I had to do, what my part was in those exchanges, but my experience has been that. Basically, they found something better to do.
It's interesting that you bring this example up, Joanne, because whatever you believe, your reality will reflect it. Your beliefs create the parameters of reality that you can experience. You cannot experience an event that is outside of your belief system. So if you believe that about the West Coast, then you will continue to have that experience about the West Coast.
Okay, audience, you heard it here from Zehra Mahoon. I have been caught out in my own, hoisted by my own petard. My thoughts have created my reality and vice versa. and I'm just going to have to change that.
Exactly.
There's no other way. I'm just going to have to change it.
That's right. Because unless you change your belief, then nothing can change. It will stay that way forever, and you'll keep proving yourself right because you haven't changed your belief. I remember a story Dr. Wayne Dyer told. Dr. Wayne Dyer used to go for a 5K run every morning and on the beach. And he told this story that one day he was running along the beach and he met someone who was new. And I guess, this is maybe 30, 40 years ago. Maui was a very small place. And so he stopped and said, hello and welcome. And have you moved here? And so this woman said, yes, I've moved here. And I can't believe it. I thought that this would be so different. It would be such a beautiful and welcoming community. And I am not having that experience. I feel that all the people that I've met are really cold and uninviting. And I think I made a mistake moving here. So he said, okay. And then a few days later, he was running on the beach again and he met someone new. And so he stopped and said, hello. Have you moved here? And this woman, also a woman, said to him, yes, I just moved a few days ago and I can't believe how wonderful people are. This is so much nicer than what I thought it would ever be. And I am so blessed to have moved here. And Dr. Wayne Dyer was using that as an example to say, you bring yourself with you. And Abraham says that as well. Abraham says you take yourself wherever you go. So whatever your experience is, that experience is going to travel with you unless you do something to change your belief system.
Okay, everybody who's listening, you have it from Zehra Mahoon. Change your belief system, among other things. Well, thank Zehra for being here today. And Zehra, how can people find you? You've written so many books. You speak often. You're on television. You do private workshops. And I'm sure you have some one-on-one events as well. How can people find you?
Simply by going to my website. So my website is zmahoon.com, and Zmahoon is my handle across all social media as well. So you're most welcome to connect with me wherever you are located.
And for the people who are listening, Z as in Z, Mahoon, MAHOON.com. And please be sure to re-listen to this thing because you'll hear my errors, not trusting myself based on my prior beliefs that are no longer relevant. And I wind up being the patient on a lot, or the client on a lot of my shows where I talk myself into problems. Thank you. That's what happens. Well, I want to thank you for being here today. It's perfect. This topic is perfect. It's perfect for anyone. So go to zmahoon.com and find out where Zehra is and connect with her. Talk to her.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, I love having you here, and I'm glad it was a great show. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody. Okay, so we're out of that. Yeah, I got that. I made my decisions about people from the East Coast, West Coast, and they fulfilled my wish. It's
law of attraction. Everything works the same way.
Yeah, I think I got introduced to law of attraction years ago with, oh God, what is his name? He doesn't do any, I think he's got videos on Facebook, and he wrote the book, Law of Attraction. What was his name? He was from Victoria, Vancouver Island.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
I'll remember it. It'll come to me. It'll show up. And it was quite a while ago. And then I go in and out of educating myself, and things get, pushed to the wayside or pushed back in line. But I'm going to reconnect with my Abraham Daily statements and sign up for that because I need that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And your podcast will be published in 60 days, plus or minus. I'll notify you via an email. It will be not only published to my social media, but so far to over 15 other platforms.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, and you will also be on my website. And so you'll be all over with this, and I'm grateful for that.
And thank you. And I will also push it to my social media and my list.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, when you've got something like this, this is evergreen.
Yes.
So you can keep doing it over and over and over again. And again, much appreciation for your willingness to change the time and date for this retreat.
Oh, no problem. I'm happy to do so.
Okay.
Good to get to know you. Take care.
Yourself as well. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.